Welcome. This is the first Intercontinental Happy Hour. I'm Miss Melissa, and today I have a special guest, Kait Moon. We're going to be chatting and we're going to be making a special whipped coffee today. This is also my co host, Jax. He will probably be in and out of the camera many times. Yes, I know. Sit.
We don't mind. We like the puppy.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
What I do? Well, I'm mostly mom. I got 4 kids,
Yeah.
but I do it in the Netherlands, so that's a little different.
Yeah.
And I do it alone here. I'm also an artist, so like some of the artwork behind me is mine. Um, but juggling that and parenting at the moment is a challenge. So I do stuff on Patreon. I have like boxes I send from the Netherlands and art stuff that I do there. But mostly I just try to raise good kids.
Yeah, yeah, you wear many hats.
I wear so many hats.
You've done
That's
many
okay. I'm
hats.
fond
Like,
of hats. So that's okay.
yeah, from being a DJ to writer, artist,
Yeah,
mom, all those
all
things.
those things. Yes, I do. I've written books, and I met you at Chaos when we were DJs together there. I ran the music department for a while.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've traveled a lot and done a lot of different kinds of jobs. But honestly, being a mom is one of the best.
I
It's
agree.
cliche to say it's rewarding, but it really actually is. It's hardest as well, but the relationships I have with my children are like no other relationships I could have ever imagined. So for
Yeah,
that, I'm really grateful. And
yeah,
every other job prepared me in some small way for being a parent. So
this is true.
even being a maid or working in a restaurant, like all that stuff, working in the bars
Yeah,
helps
or-
deal with the tantrums and the puking.
I know.
Yeah.
Honestly,
So
like being a mom sometimes reminds me. I don't know if you remember that children's book. It's called Caps for Sale.
I feel like I
And
remember
it
the
was like
title,
this
but I don't
guy,
remember.
he kept building more and more caps. And I feel like that's like sort of like the single
Yes.
mom is like just going around with this like
Layers.
big pile of hats of
Yeah,
things that we do. And
I absolutely agree with you on that.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's inevitable. It's like, and even if you don't, even if you're not ready to wear the cap, you still have to put the cap on.
Yeah.
So it's a,
Yeah. You
but
settle
I
down.
don't like that cap. But they're like, but you have to. And I'm like, ooh, I don't know. But
You do
then
it
I'm a mom, so I have to. It's
yeah.
just,
Pretty much.
yeah.
I know it. How is being a mom different, like in a different country in the Netherlands compared to like say the US, do you think?
Well, I raised my kids for the first 10 years, more or less, in the United States. My firstborn was born here in the Netherlands and was here for a couple years. We moved and came back. I think the biggest difference for me personally is this is not an English speaking country.
Oh, okay.
So people here under the age of 45 typically they can speak English and they'll want to and they like to try it out with you.
Kind of practice,
But
yeah.
that makes it harder to learn Dutch.
Yeah.
So the language barrier has been huge and it's changed what I have access to as an immigrant. I have a lot of different barriers to accessing things, not just the language, although that's a huge part of not getting to even know what those things I could access are.
Yeah.
Um, but even once I get there, there's a lot of misconceptions or there's a lot of discrimination here,
Oh,
especially against Americans. So
yeah.
um,
I think right now
I
that's
think we've earned it, so I don't blame anyone, but it's difficult because that's the first thing they see. And I'm
yeah.
like, no, no, that's not, no, I came here to avoid, in many ways, those types of things being pressured onto my children. Like I definitely love the Dutch mindset and the freedom here and,
Yeah. Yeah.
the responsibility towards family. That's very central part of their culture.
Yeah.
Their children are above everything else. Like children are at the top. Like you have to. Everything is for the children. So that was a beautiful thing to move into.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, the language barrier is huge, and not knowing how to, not just not knowing how to access things, but not knowing what I'm even supposed to do because small things here,
Yeah.
um, or what I would think were small, become very big. So a
Oh,
weird example is when my children first started school, I would send them to school with peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
yeah. Yeah.
Totally normal.
Yeah.
Well, that's a lot of sugar, and we don't do that here. And you can't have that in the classroom because it's too sweet and it's not healthy.
Wow.
And then what they suggested instead was like Nutella on bread.
That seems just as sweet.
Right, but apparently it has protein and milk in it, so in their mind, it's more of a food, whereas jam is more of like a sweet
Like a
treat.
dessert. Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I'm like, I would never have put chocolate paste on
Yeah.
my
That's
kids' bread
good.
for school.
Yeah.
But that was okay. And so it's those small things, but they become big because now they're worried. Are you feeding your child properly? Like, do you know how to feed your child? And I'm like, oh
Yeah.
God, yeah, I've been doing it for like 15 years, but one second, I have children. Hold on a second.
Oh, yeah.
You're gonna have to wait, darling. I'll come get you. Okay, bye.
Aw.
That's one of many. Yeah, so it's juggling that is strange, and then having to learn a new language.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
all been really weird. And
There's a lot of different cultural things that you have to get used to that, like,
yeah, absolutely. Well, part of that too is that there's this belief that the Dutch are very much like the Americans or Canadians or
yeah.
any Western country that might speak English,
Yeah.
and the differences are subtle but they're profound, and they can cause real issues with communication or understanding. Because like the example of the bread, it seems so small to me. I'm like, it's peanut butter and jelly. Like
Yeah. Yeah.
I've been feeding this to my kids for 10 years, like,
Yeah.
they're still alive. It's okay. But
Yeah.
I can't convince them. And there's a very there's a strictness here.
Oh,
And there's certain things that you can't, like in the United States, you can homeschool. That's illegal here. There's compulsory education here, and
yeah.
they take very seriously the upbringing of children, like I said. So for them, they have these very strict rules about how you feed and clothe and
Yeah. And
care for your child. And
yeah.
so if your child isn't swimming or riding a bicycle, which are pillars here,
Yeah.
then that's like tantamount to abuse, because that's like keeping them away from their friends, it's keeping them away from social activities.
Yeah.
And so it, on the one hand, I love that because of course children should have access to all these
Oh,
things and it should be
totally. Yeah.
mandatory that we provide them.
Yeah.
On the other hand, when you're an immigrant and you're a single parent and you have a low income
Yeah.
and you can't explain to them why you're making different choices or why your children aren't ready, or why, when I lived in Milwaukee, I didn't need a bicycle for my children. We
Yeah.
drove everywhere,
Yeah.
so it's hard for them to make those leaps. And so you have to really find very simple ways to explain why you are the way you are in certain
Yeah.
circumstances.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's not every day, but there's certain places where it's vital that you know how to very clearly and succinctly tell them, that this is normal where I'm from,
Yeah.
and I can change, but we
Yeah.
should work together. Don't
Yeah.
just worry
Don't
about
blame
me.
for not
Let's
knowing.
communicate. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the communication can be challenging, but otherwise, I feel very safe here. There's no guns, so that's really great. And well, there's guns, but it's very strict
Yeah.
here. And the schools are really good. There's a lot more variety. There are a lot of organizations and resources.
That's good.
Actually, maybe too many. And
Oh,
there's no central way to find them. So
yeah.
there's lots, but you have to really dig to
Yeah.
find your place. But once you do, you're great. Once you find the people that understand you, you have so much support here. And
That's good.
yeah, so it's been a struggle, but I've really grown and learned a lot about how people parent in different ways
That's
and what my responsibilities are.
like your
So
next book. Since you did the breastfeeding book a long time ago, your next should be like, finding resources for parenting.
yeah, I've actually really considered that. Once I figure them all out for myself, I have a plan to just like put them online for free.
Yeah,
So
that would be awesome. That would be
thank you. Yeah. One second, I have a kid again.
Yeah, no,
So
that's okay. We have kids, we have pets.
they want marshmallows.
Oh, that's a good breakfast.
Yeah, it's like almost dinner time here, but yeah, they should probably not have
Yeah,
marshmallows
there's
right now. So
wait,
yeah, I
what,
definitely
9
have
hours
a lot.
ahead?
What's up?
9 hours ahead there?
You're on the East Coast, so we're 7, I think.
7 hours. Okay.
Six. We're 6 because it's what
Six.
time is it? I don't have my glasses on.
It's
Yeah,
10.
it's 4
Yeah.
4:10.
Oh, okay. And it's
Yeah.
10:10 in the East Coast.
Hmm?
I said it's 10:10 in the East Coast.
Yes.
Yes.
So you're in the morning, and I'm in the it's almost dinner time here actually for us. It's weird how early we eat, but
Oh, okay.
yeah, everybody eats here around 5:30.
Okay.
And I used to, when in Wisconsin, we always ate much later. It's like 7:30.
Yeah. Yeah.
So my whole schedule has changed, and like the whole way in which I parent is influenced very greatly by the community. Everything is very
Like everyone does
regimented here
it at
in
a
that
certain
place.
time.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever seen the Dutch landscape, but
I've seen
but
it
it's not
pretty.
natural. It was like it was reclaimed from the sea. So all the trees are like in rows.
Oh,
And
wow.
all the roads are, I mean, everything looks like it was created because it was. There's no natural forests really up here.
Oh, okay.
So everything, the whole community and the whole society is really based on it's called the polder model.
Oh, okay.
And it's the farmers model, which is like everybody has to work together for the common good, and you have to work hard, and everybody has a place and everybody has to participate. And so that's pretty great because it's very predictable in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
You know when the stores are going to be open, you know what's going to be available.
Yeah.
But it does make it difficult to have your own rhythm. Hey,
Yeah.
Jess.
Oh, I bet. I bet. See, I'm like, he's gonna be coming back.
Hi.
His toy, I forgotten. I put his toy basket on the other side, so
Oh, no.
he's trying to find another toy right now.
It's cool. I can wait.
All right, go over there with it. You gotta get out of the camera with it. Over there. Good boy. All right, lay down. I know.
Oh,
This is lamb chop.
Mama, I want to play.
So I don't know. Let's get down to making your
All right.
whipped coffee. So if you want to read in I sort of pre-put everything in little.
You're so with it. I was like, I got the can. I have a bowl.
I hope my water. I don't think my water's still hot, but hopefully that'll be okay.
Oh yeah, mine isn't hot. Hold on, it cooled off. So I'm gonna ask my kid for that, but then I'll measure these things out and we can start.
Okay.
One second.
Maybe should I run down and heat up my water again real quick?
Yeah, why don't we just make sure it's
okay? Because I can edit it out. Yeah, I'll go heat it up again.
All right, I'll be back.
Yeah, I just got back.
So it's supposed to be hot but not boiling, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I just shut my door.
Okay.
All right.
All right. So you can help walk us through making this.
Okay. Well, I did look it back up again before I did it. I remember that it's like equal parts sugar.
Yeah.
And coffee, but I'm gonna have to look up the instructions.
I think it's 2 tablespoons of each.
Yeah, that's what I remember too.
Yeah.
So, and I have a link for it because I did a thing for my Patreon last year when this was like viral.
I mean, I can add it.
Oh, I wonder if this works. And it did. So that's why when you asked me to be on this Zoom call, I was like, hey, this would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Because I love coffee and I don't drink anymore, but I love seeing all the different things you make, but I don't drink alcohol. So this is right up my alley.
Well, I like having things for, people who do drink alcohol, people who, don't drink alcohol, because there's still a lot of great options for beverages,
Well, and I was so stoked when you said mocktails. I'm like, I'm in.
Yeah.
I got my coffee in here. It's kind of, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't really drink powdered coffee very often.
Yeah, I don't either. So this will be interesting.
So this is a little lumpy, I think. Hi, there's my son again. Layden. I don't need this right now. You can just put him right over there.
Oh, there's where they.
Okay, that also works. Hey, son, look. This is Melissa. Can you say hi?
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
So, Layden, I'm going to finish this and then you can come in, okay? But I need you to not come in again. Okay? And just stay out until I come to you. Yeah?
also, first, before I leave.
No, you won't do that because there's all the cords here.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
Yeah, I want you to just go ahead and go out now. Because
But
you're bonking things. It'll be a minute.
Okay.
Thank you. Go ahead and shut the door.
I'm
And
here.
okay, thanks.
I'm gonna say my thing.
Okay, you can say it soon. You can shut the door now. All the way tight. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
I'm like, no, I
He's
know.
so interested. He's like, what are you doing up there?
I know. Keenan's awake now, but I'm surprised he hasn't tried to sneak in either. But
Yeah.
Jackie, come on, out of the way. Go get your toy.
Okay, so we have sugar. And the way I remember it, it just, you just pour the water in and it starts to turn into this whipped cream kind of consistency pretty quickly. My bowl is really small and my thing is really strong. So there may be a mess here in a minute.
I'm just starting to whisk this and see what happens.
That's probably a safer bet. What I'll do is...
It's like... It's kind of doing something.
It starts to get really almost like a syrupy.
Yeah,
pretty quickly.
So I'll just keep whisking
Doesn't
it.
need much, and then if you're whipping it, once you start to do that, it really does firm up pretty fast.
Yeah, I don't have a mixer right now, so I haven't. I used to have one, but
I used to have one of those bomb KitchenAid mixers, and then when I moved here, I lost everything. So I just got this last year, and it's like a little bit too powerful for me. I'm gonna see if I even one is
going. I'm
What's
already
that?
tired of whisking, but
Yeah, no blame you. I might start that. I'm gonna see if this destroys my studio here. We'll see. Oh, I think I put too much water in. I have to start over. Oops.
It's definitely starting to like thicken up a little bit.
Way too much water. What's that?
It's definitely starting to like kind of thicken up a little bit. I think this just takes time.
Yeah, it's definitely a time consuming. Even with this thing, it can take a couple minutes, but I did put too much water in. So I'm gonna just lose a bit. I'll be right back.
Sometimes you have to start over. I'll keep whisking while she's redoing.
Okay. Yeah, I'll just That would give me time to catch up because this thing is faster. But I might go with my whisk.
Okay.
I'm a little afraid this is gonna
splatter everywhere.
Probably. Knowing my luck. Let's see. Like, I'm just going rogue here. I'm just like eyeballing it. I'm like, that's probably be fine. I wonder how forgiving this is. Let's see how forgiving it is.
I know. I think, if you're approximate, I think it'll probably.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like equal parts, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right. I'm gonna try again here. There we go.
Jax was like, what is that noise?
Wow. So you can already see the difference. It's like,
oh yeah,
foaming up.
Yours is starting to foam up.
It's
Mine
like
is
fluffy.
just still very like
watery.
Yeah, very.
Yeah.
I'll just try to whisk it a little faster.
I think I put too much coffee, but I like coffee, so that's okay.
Oh, there you go.
What's that?
Coffee's good. I also
Coffee's awesome.
I think living in the Northwest, you can't help but form.
Yeah.
Coffee is everything.
I'm kind of raised on coffee. Yeah. Everybody there's coffee nuts.
I know.
Is it still like that? I haven't been back in so long. When was the last time you were back in like Seattle area?
2017 we went because we had to go for my brother-in-law's funeral, and that was not the reason we wanted to go back, but
no, not at all. Yeah, but that's actually the same year I went back to my grandmother's funeral. So what month were you there?
Huh?
I feel like I remember that. I feel like I remember you talking about that. What month was that?
it was actually around this time. I think it was.
Okay, yeah. I went back in April. So.
Oh, okay.
Wow.
But we want to, once everything's calmed down, we'd like to go back for a visit and see people and
yeah,
coffee.
I miss it.
I know, I miss I miss all the like good restaurants and Batdorf and Bronson and
oh god, Batdorf and Bronson. Oh my god, the best coffee on the planet.
oh
really. So
and,
good.
like holy coffee roasters. It's just there's a few good places out here. Zeke's Coffee is close to like any Olympia coffee, but
well, that's awesome. We have nothing really like that here. There's like a couple of small chains, but they're very they're like the Italian version of Starbucks. They're not
okay.
You know,
it's not like the mom and
really
pop.
on sweets. They're really big on sweet drinks. It's
okay.
it's more like a cocktail type of thing rather than
like
for me, I like coffee drink, you know, like I want to taste the coffee. And these are more like caramel with, you know, and that's nice.
Yeah.
But it's not, it's, I loved Seattle and Oli because the coffee's like really rich and flavorful. And it's like drinking a beer almost, you know, it's got that same sort of heavy, you know, full body. And here we're like Starbucks is this more top notes, not so much, it's not like decaf or I mean like powdered, you know, but it's but it's not, it's a really mild roast and I like my coffee dark. So I miss that. I miss being able to drive through places and get those.
Oh, I know.
All right, I'm gonna blend this a little more and see what happens.
You know, it's funny, like the you know, because on the West Coast, it's like the like people making their like own beer, like you know, breweries and stuff was like that's been forever in Seattle and stuff. But you know, out on the West Coast, it's like starting to like make a note here. There's like breweries popping up everywhere, so it's kind of
really. Is it just kind of going east then?
I think so.
Yeah. Because I remember, like 15 years ago, it started in Seattle when I was living up on the hill. There were all those like 7 or 8 microbreweries all over the place, and
but now here it's like microbreweries everywhere popping up, and it's kind of cool.
All with bearded people, or all the men bearded.
Well, I mean that's like you know that's a rule if you're gonna open a microbrewery.
Hat and the tight pencil length pants. Some of those are happening here. It's
not
very
enough mason jars though out here. Not enough mason jars out here though.
Oh, that's a really important part of the aesthetic. You could be the person that brought that too.
I could bring the mason jar.
You could be that person. You can like start a little shop. People would be eating that up, man.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I thought about doing like a local like using only local breweries for like you know vodka and other things and
that's a great idea.
And like infusing local you know fruits and vegetables like all like making different you know like all like local and I just don't know if people want that out here yet.
Yeah, you got to really time that stuff right, and you never really know exactly when that moment is. A lot of it's luck and being at the place at the right time. But I mean, it's a great idea, and I think other people have done it successfully in places where these trends
and I think if I was still on the West Coast, I think you know, like it would be you know, like obvious, you know.
It's there. All those are already everywhere. So, but I think you definitely have an opportunity there. You should look into that.
Yeah, at some point that would be something I'd like to do, but you know, and just local, like only local beers and only local, like you know, just I think that'd be kind of cool. But
I think awesome. I think I think even a lot of people. I know this sort of is again almost opposite of the idea, but a lot of people may even want like gift boxes of those things because they're from there.
Oh, they need to send,
like, send it back to their families or people abroad or people in the military who are just like, oh, I want to taste at home, you know.
They have a cool Made in Baltimore store, and they send packages like you were saying, just just things that are from Baltimore, and like a whole box of like, and it's cool like because they have like local. It's like either beer or like we have what's called oh, what are they called now? I forgot what they were called. They're like a type of cookie, and they have this like really thick chocolate frosting on it. Yeah, stop licking.
He's like, coffee's so good.
But they're only made in like here, and I feel bad that I can't remember the name of the cookie, but but they send those and like different chips, like local potato chips and stuff. And
That's awesome.
Old Bay,
I've done some of that with. Oh, what's that?
and Old Bay. Everything's
Oh yeah, Old Bay. Yeah, everybody knows Old Bay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So here in Groningen, they also have like their own bread and like cookie, and they have special liquors here too. So I'm gonna send you a couple small bottles.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. Just to try.
They're like my English is gone. Spicy. So they're like they're more medicinal liquors.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So one's called Berenburg, and that's like Frisian. So that's a province in the north that I used to live in.
Oh,
and then they have one here that's the Gronings version, and Groningen is where I live. And it's the biggest city in the north, and it's a big university city, and they do a lot of research here, and they're a huge part of the tech industry. All of the new tech people come here, and the college here is amazing. But they have like, yeah, they all have their own cookies. So there's like these Frisian cookies called friske donkers.
Ooh.
Yeah, and they're anise. Yeah, they're delicious, and they have like anise seed in them. They're like they kind of taste a little bit.
Oh yeah, I love. Yeah.
So I often in my boxes that I create these boxes that have my art, but they're also regional. So they're parts of the Netherlands that I experience. I put in there. So there's like tea. Sometimes I put coffee sachets in there with different flavors. I've had postcards and little knickknacks and magnets, like with wooden shoes. And
cool.
So yeah, everybody loved the friske donkers. So I'm like really interested in those cookies because I'm like I love regional cookies. I think they're always so interesting to try.
I'll get you some when I'm at the store.
Awesome. So excited. So yeah, I'm gonna send you a nice little care package, and you let me know what you think about the liquors because I love Berenburg, and it's really everybody here right when it starts to like get cold season, everybody like takes a shot. They're just little because it's like immune boosting too, but it tastes nice, or you can just sip it.
Yeah.
So
cool. I've tried. I think it's in Norway. It's Aquavit, something like that.
Aquavit. I feel like I've heard that before, but I don't know.
But I know that's from Norway, but that's the only thing I've tried, like, from out that way.
It might be interesting for you to. There's like I've in all of my travels, everyone has a regional liquor.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if you explored some of those with the people around. Like, I mean, that's what you're kind of doing now, but
yeah.
I think that idea you have to like make it local can also apply to the people that you're talking to. And you can maybe ask them about their regional liquors like mezcal in Mexico and tequila, and there's a lot of places that have their own versions, and they're so delicious. So.
Oh, totally. Yeah, I know. I'd love to do that while I'm talking to people and coming up with.
Well, you can get them to send you boxes, so they can send you.
That's true.
They can send you like a full sample, and then you can like test out what kind of things you could make with it, and then make them a drink.
That's true. That's a good idea too. Yeah.
Yeah. I hear alarm going off in my house. 1 second.
Yes.
Not that one. It's like a phone jingling. Oh, here it is. Oh, here we go.
I'm like, I'm not sure if this is gonna get frothy or not. I hope so.
You might have to like really like beat the crap out of it. Like, all the frustration you've had for the last week, just like aim it at the whisk and just like pour it. There you go.
There we go.
That's the way to do it.
Yeah.
Mine is like okay. It's not as thick as I want it, but
yeah,
it's okay.
I
might whip it a little.
Like, ooh, it gets so like thick and.
Yeah, I think. So I'm gonna beat it for a second, and then I'll show you what it looks like.
Okay, it's gonna end up looking better and more.
Okay, that works.
Well, there you go.
So this is what
Definitely.
it looks like. It's like,
Oh yeah, it looks like whipped cream.
yeah, it's just really.
There you go. Yeah. Yeah, my
So,
son can get there.
I think you can get there. You just got to really beat the crap out of it.
Yeah.
Show it who's boss, Melissa.
Trying.
I can see you. You're doing a great job. All right. So I'm going to bring my chair over because I can sit now. So how do you like Baltimore?
There's a lot of things that I totally love about it. And there's a lot of things that really need to be worked on and addressed and to make the city better, you know?
Yeah, I think we've heard about some of those things.
I love a lot of the businesses there. I love the architecture. I love a lot of the people. You know, I think Baltimore gets a bad rap of like, you know, how much violence there is, but there's also like people are so real in this city. Like you always know like where you stand, which I like. Because I mean, I love the West, but there's that whole like you don't always know because people don't always they're too nice to like you know
they're going to be polite,
you know,
but they're just lying to you because they don't want to deal with it. Yeah, that was a huge part of the Seattle scene. Even was, you know, when I was DJing and stuff, was this, oh yeah, I'll totally come to your show, and you like 3 people, and I'm like, hi,
yeah,
you know, like, just tell me you're not going to go, like it's fine.
If people here, it's like if you invite them to go, if they like you, they will go. If they don't, they'll be like, yeah, no, I'm not going to do that. You know, and it's
right.
Like,
I love that. See, that's my kind of people.
You know, and I'm not gonna get upset or offended. It's like, you know, that's cool. You know, that's fine.
Yeah, like, thank you for being honest with me. I appreciate it. And there's more respect there for me on that level.
Yeah, yeah. But you know, and there's definitely a lot of characters in this city. There's a lot of like and I like that. I kind of like that about I like people who have a lot of personality and character, and the city is definitely teeming with personality.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Evergreen gave us that too. Is, you know, I loved being there at Evergreen and experiencing the culture there because it really was a good template for living in places like that where there's just a lot of different kind of people, and you have to learn to work in those frameworks, and that's really served me here. I mean, I've had a lot of struggles in the Netherlands, but
very much
my education. What's that?
I very much believe that Evergreen's a place that's great to go to, and you even take that with you.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, I think that's, you know, why I really wanted to go there, as I could see that was they're not just trying to, you know, spit the same kind of people out. They're trying to take people and spit them out better at the end.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, their own selves, but better, you know?
Yeah.
And we do take that with us, you know, we take these new ideas and those different ways of being and that personal accountability. I think that's what you're talking about, like in Baltimore. That's what that is when people say, no, I don't really want to go. That's them taking responsibility for themselves. And that's something at Evergreen that was instilled in us, you know, it's your job to take care of you.
Yeah.
But also as part of the community. It's for the betterment of the community, you know?
Yeah, it's taking all those things we learned and building community out here and trying, you know, and that's kind of where I'm at right now that I feel like we're a little more settled and stuff, like, you know, how can I take what I learned there and bring it to this community and try to, like, you know, help this community, you know, in a way. But I'm still working on that. But
I think sometimes it takes us time, especially when we transplant into a new place. I experienced that because after leaving Olympia, I went straight to the Netherlands for 2 years.
Yeah.
And then I never really made it back to the West Coast. I ended up in Milwaukee, Wisconsin.
Yeah.
And also have a lot of problems.
Yeah.
And are, you know, listed as, you know, one of the most dangerous cities in the country. They always fight with Minneapolis every year. They're either one or two and they switch. So it's like got a lot of problems and a lot of segregation. But like you said, there's all of these amazing, really like down to earth, honest, caring people that are just trying to live their lives and create their communities and be supportive. And it's not hard to find them there. I mean, all you see in the news are the sad, horrible parts.
Yeah.
But
Well, it's hard. We have like 300 some murders a year. So, I mean, that's pretty much what people see when they think of Baltimore. But there's a whole community in Baltimore. There's people trying to help people in Baltimore. There's people trying to, alleviate the food deserts in Baltimore. Here. There's people trying to, help with the poverty in Baltimore. There's people like trying to end gun violence in Baltimore. And I think that, and those people aren't on the news,
No, nobody's gonna profile them because they're not interesting. They just
to see like what people are trying to do to help the city become better, and I think that we need to see more of that, because it's like we know those things are happening, we know the violence is happening, but like let's he says yes.
That's awesome.
I think if we work on like trying to help the problems here, would be good.
Yeah, I wish the news was more based on like I went into media with the intention to like find ways to connect people. That was why I loved media. I thought, oh, there's a TV, I can connect to millions of people, or I'm on the radio, I can hundreds of thousands of people, and I can share this thing with them that I think they're gonna love and benefit from. And then I got into media and I started to study it, and I like studied media ethics, and I went, oh no, that's okay. I'm gonna just be a photojournalist and talk about it, because like the rest of it was just like, this is not connecting people. This is programming people to be afraid and dependent. And like you said, on the news, they're not talking about like how you can help. They're not directing you to resources or people who in the community, unless it's like some sort of special spotlight,
Yeah.
And so it's beautiful that people like you and the people that already have lived there are thinking of ways to help and thinking of ways to be a part of the solution instead of the problem. And it's unfortunate
you knew that you wanted to get into media at Evergreen. Like I came upon it like so randomly. Like I went to Evergreen to be a writer, and then like I happened to stumble. I was gonna go upstairs to find the bathroom upstairs at the cab, and Michael happened to be in the doorway, and he's like, "Hey, you want a tour?" And I was like, okay. So he gave me a tour, and next thing I know, I'm like a news intern at Chaos.
Oh my God, they recruited us all the same. I was there because I actually started in computer science at in Eastern Washington at Wazoo, and Wazoo, and 1 year was enough. So I started computer science in 1999.
Okay.
So bad timing, because
Y2K.
I was like, this isn't gonna work. So I went to Evergreen kind of with no idea what I was gonna do, and I took this course called Cornerstone, and it was a course for like,
remember that.
Yeah, it was awesome, career development, and we kept getting in trouble because we would laugh so hard in the course that like the other students, it was night courses, and they were just like, we can't study, we can't function. We're like, I'm really sorry. But one of our
on this.
What's that?
I think I'm gonna give up on this.
Oh no.
It's still like.
Is it still thin? Oh no.
Still very thin.
Well, I'm sorry. I wish I could give you some.
Still tastes good though.
I think it'll still
like pour in the cream and pour it on top and sort of.
Yeah, like an iced coffee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's just do. I'm just gonna do that, and then
you
show what it really looks like.
I can share my results here. So anyway, I took that class, and one of our assignments was to go do an informational interview. So I went and interviewed the news director. She was not a happy person.
Okay.
Just not. And then I interviewed.
So that was before Donna.
It was before Donna. It was the one. She wasn't there very long. She was like everybody quit right before Donna got hired. The whole all of Chaos quit.
Yeah, that was right when I started.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we all started right in the middle of literal chaos. There was no one knew what was happening. My introduction to music direction was, here's your office.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, now what? And they're like, here's your office. I was like, okay. And they're like, have fun. And they just get walked out. The guy, I don't remember who it was that told me this, that they got some intern or something that was working there to just like take me back there. But I had this interview with her just to talk to her about the music because I had wanted to be a DJ when I was like 14.
Yeah.
And then I gave it up
Yeah.
and whatever. But I was like, yeah, this is cool. I can go see what it'd be like to be a DJ.
Yeah.
And it was supposed to be a half an hour. And it was with Julie Kellen.
Oh yeah.
And yeah. And it was supposed to be a half hour, and 2.5 hours later, I left there like, what happened? And she handed me the job description for music director. She's like, you need to be our music director. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
And she's like, no, I really think you'd like this job. And I'm like, oh, okay, I've never done anything like this. And she's like, no, but you love music. I'm like, I do love music.
Yeah.
And I left, and she called like 7 times in a week. And my boyfriend said, if you don't call her back, I am going to call her back. And so I called her back, and she's like, please, just like, try it out. And so of course I did, and ended up there for 5 years. So
yeah.
But they recruit us all the same. They're like, hey,
yeah,
you should look at this thing we got over here.
So yeah, I had done the news internship, and then they needed a music director. So they're like, well, you wanted to do music anyway, so just come on in and do that instead. So I was like, okay. So I was like psyched to do that because I was like, I felt like that was a little more up my alley,
Yeah, and you were good at it.
Obsessed with music since I was born. So
Same here.
Yeah.
My mom said I danced before I walked. It was like, it's just always been a very integral part of my life. So
yeah,
Chaos was beautiful for that. It was a really amazing place to be able to explore all those different genres and interact with so many different kinds of people in the industry.
Oh, totally. It was an amazing experience at that time doing the music director and everything. I think I was one of the few people who did every internship there, but
yeah, you did make the runs. You're like, I'll just do everything. It's fine. I think John Ford is the only person.
But and that was sort of that was kind of what I wanted to do. But then it was at a time when radio was really changing, though.
Yeah, absolutely. We were going digital, and Chaos was behind. We were still working on 486s, and everybody else had like digital playlists, and we're like, oh.
Went into the digital like maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. So it took a while.
Community radio,
technology, and get the funds to like be able to do that, and just people listening to so many different mediums. I think now it's hard to keep up. I think public radio is probably one of the few things that can keep itself somewhat, listenable,
Absolutely. Yeah, well, it's got its own niche now. It used to be something that was like dying, but then the big radio stations kind of fell apart because they became a different entity. They just became part of the music industry even more than they were before. Whereas community radio stayed grassroots. It's like, no, this is the people, we're going to.
If you want to hear things that are new, it's really going to be from public radio, commercial.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're not going to hear the newest music.
No, it's all been prepackaged like 3 years ago to come out on a certain date at a certain time with the certain venues that are booked on this,
and working in commercial radio for a little while, that was like a whole ugh. When I came out here, I worked for the O station, but I also did overnights, and I was in charge of all 5 of their stations. So that was like the sports station, the rock station, the pop station, all of it. I had to oversee it at night. And and it's just, like making your own playlist at home. And it's just pretty much the same songs like every night.
Over and over. Yeah. It's just a rotation.
Yeah. You're like, okay, at 1:20, it's going to be like, Amy Grant, or whatever. And I was like, that's not creative. That's not, why I got into radio. And
that's how I felt. I really wanted to be a DJ my whole life. And I don't know if you remember, but I have like a tattoo with my DJ gear on my arm.
Yeah.
So like this has just been, it was such a part of how I identified and what was important to me. And then when I was so lucky that I got Chaos, because it really gave me that, like, what in my mind was the idealized version of, if I could ever work at a radio station, what would it be like? And then I stumbled into the perfect place.
Yeah.
And when I was getting closer to my degree, and finishing, I was like, wait a minute, and the only options I had were really public or commercial radio.
Mhm.
And as I'm looking at all
That's true.
these job descriptions, I'm like, I can't do this.
Yeah.
I can't do this. Like, and when you went, I remember when you got that job, and I was like, you are so brave. Like, you're a brave person, and you must be very strong, because it's like why I can't be a midwife or a doula. I just am too emotional about it. Like, I will get in people's faces, you know.
Yeah.
We can't do this. Like, it's too important, you know.
Yeah.
And so
And
I had to change my.
it was hard too, because I remember going into meetings and always like having ideas and always being like, oh, we could try this, let's do this, let's let's change it. And it was like, oh, Melissa, shut up, like it
It's
wasn't
like the opposite of the meetings at Chaos, right?
say that, but it was like kind of like, it was just like, we have
You could
this
tell they were.
machine, we have this system, like we don't want
This
to
works. We're not going to mess with what works.
yeah. And then when we first moved here, I was very like, oh, I'll just do Coddleston pie out here.
Yeah.
And the whole like people weren't ready for that out here. The stations, even the community and other, they were like, what are you doing? They're like they're like this, because they were like, oh, a children's show, it's gonna be like Barney, and it's gonna be like,
oh yeah, it's
so
like, no, this is
I'd send them a show and be like, here, this is what I'm doing, this is what I want to do, and they're like, I don't think we have a place for that, or they didn't make a place for that, and
right.
And so that was kind of like hard, because I was thinking like, oh, people are going to be excited, this is new, this is
right.
There's show up in Philly that pretty much does that, but apparently Maryland is not ready for that, so
Unfortunate. This is like the opposite of Oli, where like they're like, what do you got? Oh, like Hawaiian music? Sure.
yeah
Like what? Some sort of like esoteric electronic from Norway? Okay. A whole show on just that? Why not? It's like, that sounds great. Yeah, that's why like
trying to take Coddleston pie, like when we lived in Seattle, I remember trying to like see what some of the smaller stations up there were even kind of like, I don't think we have a place for this, and and it was kind of weird to me, because it was like, Chaos, it was like, you want to do a children's show, this is what you want to do, that's awesome, and
right. I know, we were so lucky. We were in this like really I don't know, magical moment in radio history. I think we were just in Chaos history, even, because everything there at that moment was like all bets are off. There were no rules there. I mean, we had some, but they didn't work anymore, because we were moving forward into another place.
I even remember like when they tried to like be like, well, let's do a block of like, that this certain time we'll do hip hop, at this certain time we'll do this.
Right.
And now no, we can't do that. Like that totally takes away the creativity. I mean, now we do, but now Chaos does. But I remember at the time when it was brought up, it was like, no.
Our whole part of our whole identity was this, like, you do not know what's going to happen when you turn on that dial.
You get what you get. Yeah, you get what you get. The people who want to listen to it know when it's on,
Exactly. Yeah, we put the schedule out in the paper. It's available. We put those all over town. People know when to look. Yeah, it was a magical thing.
It was a good time then, and I miss that, and I wish I wish there was more of a thing, and now like there's stuff like what like Coddleston Pie, it's on like the satellite radio and stuff, right, like that now, but it's just like I wish other stations had been like open to it.
Yeah, I think there's a difference between the type of people that listen to satellite radio and the people that listen to actual like dial radio, and not only that, but there's so much satellite radio that there's just a glut, so it's really hard to find. Even your niche stuff is hard to find, because there's it's just so much.
And not everybody has that like option. I mean, not everybody wants to pay a subscription.
Right. Exactly.
Like, I can't do that for my car. I mean, it's not really my budget,
Right? Yeah, for real. Well, and that's, free radio is different. And that's why, the public radio stations are so vital, because the only way that the commercial radio stations exist is through their supporters or their, you know, the people that
Yeah,
pay
they're ads. It's
for
all
the advertising.
yeah.
Yeah, so you're just getting other people's ideas about what you want, and that's
Yeah.
I still think public radio is so vital because it gives you what you truly want, or it shows you what you didn't know you wanted, you
Yeah.
know, and not in a predatory way, like, oh, you know, it's
Yeah.
all free. Just like we love music and so can you, you know,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I miss that vibe a lot.
It's nice because it's like you get to tune into somebody's like basically just like them making a playlist in their bedroom, like, you know, 2 hours, you know, and you get to like be this voyeur into that, you know, and that's kind of cool, you know, and I think
think so
Spotify
too,
does that a little bit now because you can listen to people's
other
Spotify,
people's playlists. Yeah, exactly.
but I
It's
love
not
that.
quite the same though.
And I like hearing, and
Live.
I still like the voices. I still like hearing somebody and
Yeah.
feeling somebody's in the room with you is nice too.
Yeah. Well, it felt like a conversation you were having when you were listening, and also as the DJ, I was having a conversation with the people that were listening to my show.
Yeah.
Even if they didn't call in, I
Yeah.
still got feedback over time, and I could feel that vibe. And it was like I did club DJing too, and that was a totally different thing. It's like immediate, like in your face. You have to read the room right now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
radio had that same like excitement and connection, but in a much more subdued and like
Yeah.
I wouldn't say safe is the word, but like there's just a soft separation between you and the listener that
Oh,
gives you more freedom to be like do it. You know, like I'm gonna pull this out,
yeah.
but also gives them the space to step in and say, but I also want to listen to this.
Yeah.
And so it's a conversation you guys are having with each other where you're like, this is what I love, and people are like, yeah, I love this. You're like, oh yeah, I love this too. And and then there's like 5 more people like, oh, I love that you played that song last week.
Yeah,
You know, and you know, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it.
Safety in radio of like I always likened it to like being the man behind the curtain in Oz.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
You can
There's
create
that
this
anonymity.
persona, you can create like who you feel like you want to be on air.
Absolutely.
And nobody's like staring at you and watching you.
Right.
Which I liked.
You know what? It just occurred to me like chaos is kind of like cosplay for introverted people.
Yeah.
We don't want to actually see you.
Yeah. I don't want to see you, but I like
Is it
you.
Kind of awesome.
Get that, like, but it was weird and like kind of freaked me out a few times because I remember one time I was walking out of Trader Joe's and I was like with Keenan and I was laughing at someone, not someone, but I was laughing at something he said, and this woman comes up to me. She's like, I know that laugh. You're on Chaos. And I was like,
Totally.
And
I completely know that feeling.
You're Melissa, aren't you? And I was like,
what?
Maybe.
Me? No, not me.
Yeah.
Ah.
And that happened a few times, you know, being out and about and, you know, people hear your voice and they're like, I know you. And I'm like,
yeah, well, and it's because they do listen every week. You become this fixture. It's like, you know, Mr. Rogers' voice, you know?
Yeah,
like,
you
just know certain voices. And when you're out in public and you hear it, you're like, wait a minute. That happened to me in Value Village. This adorable young man. He must have been like 17, 18, you know?
Yeah.
And he's I could tell he was nervous because I'm getting my stuff and I'm talking to my friend, and he just started acting a little jittery, and I was like, oh, I wonder what's up. And then he takes my card and his eyes get really big, and he looked at me and he goes, you're Kait Moon.
Oh.
And I went, yes. And he's like, oh my god.
Oh, that's so cute.
Oh, honey, thank you. And I was like, I've had other moments where people recognize me, but that was the most like powerfully like emotive moment. I was like, oh my god, I'm so glad I give you this joy because I love doing this. You know?
Yeah. But it's like,
so
but you forget, like sometimes just being in the booth, you forget, and you're like, you know, it's just me.
Other people out there listening.
It's just me and the music, and then you forget, like there's like a whole like community, like
there's like thousands of people who could potentially be listening right now, you know. And then when we were streaming, it was all over the world. So you know, I'd sometimes get calls from New York or Germany.
Yeah, I remember getting emails from like all kinds of crazy places, and like and that was weird too, because I was like, oh wow, this person's listening in Australia, or this person's listening in Ireland, or you know, and that was like a weird feeling too. I mean, a good feeling, but a weird.
Yeah, but just yeah, I mean, like you said, being in the booth, it's a very like I've done salt floats, you know, and like deprivation chamber, and there's
Oh,
some
yeah,
sort
yeah.
of similar sort of thing that happens when you're in the booth with your music. You just like
Yeah,
you're really
yeah,
cut off from
yeah,
all the rest of the noise and the
yeah,
relationships and all those things, and you're just like zoning in on this beautiful thing. And so yeah,
yeah.
it does kind of, you forget that you're also zoning in front of an audience.
Yeah,
You know,
and you're beaming that energy
out to
out
space.
to the cosmos, you know?
Wait, literally, it's like
Yeah,
still going, you know,
yeah,
like my voice is out there somewhere in the
somewhere in
cosmos.
the universe, yeah.
Like past Venus by now, I don't know. Like,
Yeah. Maybe Mars. No.
maybe Mars by now. I don't know how fast it goes. I should know that. I know we studied that at some point, but
This didn't turn out like how it was supposed to, but it actually tastes really good.
does it? Okay, so this is what mine did, and I actually made some coffee and then like put it on the top as almost like a garnish.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And it's still like it's like whipped cream, but it adds extra coffee flavor.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did that with my other one. One of my old patron videos is actually me with one of the coffee drinks I made.
Oh,
And then I showed you that like speed video. It was like a time lapse.
yeah. Yay. Well, thanks for coming on today, and thanks for chatting with me. And
Thank you for inviting me.
it's your Patreon, so if people want to go and
Super easy. It's patreon.com/KAITMOON, Kait Moon.
very simple. So
Very
yeah,
simple.
if you wanna check that out, that would be awesome. Kait has
Yes,
some
please.
amazing art. She has some amazing everything. So
I do like a lot of stuff. I also do glass cartons still occasionally.
that's
I do review
great.
shows.
Yeah.
So those are released to my patrons early. I also write and take photography. I do photography, and I'm not arting as much, but I do have products and stuff that I give, like I said, in the boxes.
Yeah.
And you can also find me on social media if you go to Kait Moon Arts, ARTS.com. That's like all my spaces online are connected there. So
Awesome. So check all that out, and you and your many caps. No. Well, thanks so much for dropping by.